wineries as well as a distillery. So my owner is a guy named Derek Benham. He's been in the wine business about 40 years. His brother Courtney Benham, they started a couple brands. One was a wine brand called Mark West. People might know that brand if you drink wine at any time. It was kind of when Pinot Noir hit the craze. Everyone didn't really know what Pinot Noir was, and then Pinot Noir came out and he had a brand called Mark West and it was on fire. And so he sold that to Constellation in 2012 and made a little bit of dough and decided that he wanted to open up a boutique distillery, craft distillery. So we broke ground. We had some winery property in Sonoma. Small town of Brayton is where our distillery is, which is about an hour north of San Francisco. We're in the heart of the Redwoods, hence the name Redwood Empire. And so we broke ground on that property in 2013. Little trial and error, started making whiskey, but we did have a little gin that we were producing first because of course gin doesn't need to be aged, but we actually do age one of our gins. We do have a barrel aged gin. So while we were aging our whiskey and stuff, we put out this gin called Benham's Gin. It's pretty unique, it's different. We do things different in California, of course. But Redwood Empire I work on Redwood Empire about 80% of my time in the market. Came on when they launched the whiskeys, so I've been with them since the day they launched the whiskeys here in market. I love the brand. I love drinking it. I love everything about it. You could say I'm very passionate about it, I guess, because I truly love what's in the bottle, and I truly love what we're doing in California, which is very unique in what some of the other whiskey makers are doing. So tonight we have a flight there for you. We're going to taste kind of the core three, which is Pipe Dream, Emerald Giant, Lost Monarch, and then we're going to taste the Cask Strength, but we're going to do them simultaneously. So we're going to taste Pipe Dream and then Pipe Dream Cask Strength, and then we'll do Lost Monarch and then Lost Monarch Cask Strength and Emerald Giant, and then we're going to have it paired. So in about 10 minutes or so, they're going to drop down the first course for you guys to try, and then you guys just sample, and I'll talk, and we'll just keep moving along. If you have any questions, just ask me. So Redwood Empire started 2013. 2015, some whiskey was coming out. We have a guy at our distillery named Jeff Duckhorn. He has kind of a little bit of a famous last name in wine country because Duckhorn Wine Family is his family there. But he's been working with Purple for about 12 years. He actually came on as our accountant. He was a cost accountant. We call him the accountant gone rogue. He came on, and when they decided to do the distillery, he kept raising his hand. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of it. The owner, Derek, was like, oh yeah, you can do all the Excel spreadsheets, and you can cost everything out and make sure we stay on budget when we're building it. Jeff's like, no, I want to make it. I want to be a part of it. And Derek's like, oh yeah. We already had a distiller on, ready to go. And a week before we were to open the doors, that distiller decided that he didn't want to do things the way our owner wanted to do things, so he decided to leave. So Derek went up to Jeff and said, hey, you said you wanted to be a part of this. Do you really still want to be a part of it? And he was like, this is what he says in the market all the time. He's like, it's like daddy comes up and flips you the keys to the Ferrari, and you say, yeah, let's go. And you figure it out along the way, right? So Jeff was a very geeky master of fermentation. He made his own kombucha, makes his own bread, makes his own beer. You guys will appreciate that. He's just so geeky about fermentation. So fermentation with whiskey, not too far of a stretch. So he got in there, a lot of trial and error. Fortunately, Derek was very well funded. So if we made some mistakes along the way, that was okay because we had a little cash reserve for him to do that. He actually got an opportunity to work with a guy named Dave Pickerel. Some of you guys might know who that is. He's not with us anymore, but he was the guy behind Whistle Pig, but he was also at Maker's Mark for I think 20 some years. He also got to work with Chris Morris from Woodford, which he's retiring, I heard. There's a new lady at the helm of who's going to be the master distiller. It was just announced this week. I think her name is Elizabeth. Thank you. I have a lot of them bouncing around in my head. Lexi, Elizabeth, there's a ton of them. So anyway, he got to work with those two distillers and got to learn a lot from them and brought those techniques back to California. And we started out of the gate with the Pipe Dream. They're all named after redwood trees. So Pipe Dream, Lost Monarch, Emerald Giant are all the 1% of living coastal redwoods still in existence. The bottles are pretty cool because they pretty much tell the story for us. So on the bottles, there is a figure, and that's our muse. Our inspiration is a guy named John Muir. Does anybody know who John Muir is?
Oh yeah.
Come on, history class, kick it in there. Muir Woods, all right. So he was more than Muir Woods, but how he got Muir Woods. He was a huge activist for the Redwoods. He was an environmentalist, he was an author, he was a photographer. He was a little bit political as well. He became friends with Teddy Roosevelt and convinced Teddy Roosevelt to start the national park system. So Yosemite, Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, all these great places, the Redwoods, that you get to visit, and I highly recommend you visit the Redwoods, is because of John Muir and his relationship with Teddy Roosevelt, because John Muir was actually a tour guide at Yosemite. Then he married a very wealthy woman and didn't have to be a tour guide anymore, and so he could kind of do his passion project, which was a big activist for natural, the nature. So John Muir is our inspiration for the labels. There's a quote from him on every bottle. There's also a GPS coordinates right here on the side. If you put that into Google Maps, it will take you to the redwood forest of where the pipe tree is being grown, and it does it for all. On the back, there is a QR code of the bottles. You scan that, it's Jeff Duckhorn giving you a little tasting about Redwood Empire pipe tree. On the back, it also talks about the forest, about the tree, about the whiskey, and then also our promise: for every bottle that we sell, we plant a tree. No, we are not planting redwoods. They take 1,100 to 1,500 years to mature. Fortunately, none of us will be around then. We're doing oak, citrus, pine, cedar. I actually took a team in Tampa last April for Earth Month, because that's our national campaign, our big campaign of the year. And I took them to the Courtney Campbell Beach in Tampa, and we planted 200 mangroves. Mangroves are pretty important to us in Florida, right? Yeah. So when they asked me, they're like, well, what do you want to plant? And I'm like, well, let's plant mangroves. I mean, that's like a triple threat for us here in Florida. It saves our ecosystem, the shoreline, and we're planting some trees. So we did that, and every year in April we'll do that. We'll take a team out so we can do it locally. So we do partner with Trees for the Future, and One Tree Planted, they do it globally, and they go to wherever is the most need, and they'll plant trees, whatever's indigenous and fast growing to that area. So could be a variety of trees. You guys go ahead and start drinking. The first one, the pipe dream, it's gonna be the first, your top left. Thank you. Goodness, it's been a long day already.